While declining inflation rate in Kenya will pave the way for economic recovery, putting Kenya in a position to achieve 5% growth in 2013. This will be pivotal in job creation in the country, which reported an unemployment rate of 40% at the end of last year. Joining us to chat about this, amongst other issues, and about where Kenya is in terms of jobs in the global market is Wolfgang Fengler. He's lead economist at the World Bank. Wolfgang, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Let's perhaps start off with a broad overview of this Kenyan economy that we're looking at right now, because I've picked up from your report that economically 2012 has pretty much been a mirror image of 2011, but that Kenya will enter 2013 from an improving economic position. What's your assessment of the Kenyan economic landscape?
Thank you very much, Alishia, and you said it already very well, that Kenya is now in a good position to accelerate growth in 2013, which you know is an election year and will have its own uncertainties. But if you look back over the last 24 months, 2011 started very strong and with low inflation, but then several shocks hit Kenya, including macroeconomic vulnerability, which it was not exposed to before, and that took a long time to correct and to adjust. So Kenya had record high inflation about a year ago, and now it's at very close to a record low, and that's the improving position Kenya is entering to. The other big message I would like to give in this report we launched today is Kenya is in the middle of very big transitions and transformations, and it's quite similar to other African countries. But to give you the highlights, there's a lot of population growth, including Kenya, 1 million people every year. But most of this extra 1 million will be adults, will live in cities, and they will move out of agriculture. And these are some of the big transitions that this country is undergoing and that the next government will tackle.
For now, though, Wolfgang, the pace of growth that we're seeing certainly not enough to generate, enough modern sector wage jobs, and it's a vicious circle because this will ultimately have an impact on growth prospects moving forward. It will act as an impediment down the line. So, just how worrying a factor is that for you right now?
Well, indeed, there's 800,000 youth that enter the labor market approximately every year, and only 50,000 formal jobs being created. So that's indeed the staggering statistics the country is confronted with. Now, those who don't enter formal job don't necessarily work in agriculture or have exposed to huge suffering. Some of them are, but some are just struggling as their parents have been doing, but doing it more in urban areas, so that gives them potentially more opportunities down the line. For Kenya, the big issue, and has always been, is how do you energize that second growth engine? The question of export competitiveness, the question that you should export not just tea or flowers, but really go into manufacturing. That will be the sectors that can create these many jobs the country needs.
Of course, that's just one of the challenges that need to be tackled. Another is the cost of doing business in the country. And you cited one statistic a little earlier. I'm going to cite another that is certainly quite worrying. With the money Kenyan firms pay in bribes each year, they could hire 250,000 people. I mean, this impacting the cost of doing business in a very big way, and certainly that job scenario.
Indeed, and if people are asking why there are not more foreign investors or domestic investors expanding their business in Kenya, or for that matter in other countries in the region, this is already one of the reasons you highlight. And that statistics is quite staggering, and Kenya unfortunately is an outlier in that area in that respect. In energy and transport costs, it also costs more to transport a container from Mombasa to Nairobi compared to any other country in the region, compared to South Africa, compared to India. So these are the reasons why investors don't come in the numbers the country would need.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the road forward, where do you see more jobs being created? And once those jobs are being created, I mean, you highlighted that we need to see Kenya develop a manufacturing base, for example, to enhance things there. Do we have the skill set to actually cater to those demands when they do crop up?
Well, skills in the various surveys we looked at in our own analysis have not been the determining factor. There has actually been an education expansion and almost an education dividend now happening in Kenya. Over the next 20 years, you get a tripling on secondary school graduates. There's a big issue on quality. There's many aspects still, but that doesn't seem to be the main challenging issue. The challenging issue is the one you highlighted. It's the investment climate, the business environment. Now, where could the jobs come from or be? Look at a sector where Kenya is doing very well. ICT, financial sector, creative sectors. Remember California, it's 5th biggest economy in the world if it was a country on its own. 60% of its economy is on this creative sectors. People talking about Silicon Savannah in Kenya, and that is already one area the country is expanding and is very well positioned to take benefit from.